All right, here we go. It's episode 21. We're of legal drinking age on the Odd G's podcast. Finally.
Yes, finally is right.
Bet Parks presents Odd G's. There's Harry Mays. Where you got the vest going there, Harry.
It's cold, man. I'll tell you, it's damp and cool in my house right now. I don't have the heat on. You know, I have the temperature just set at like natural, like whatever it is.
Mhm.
And it's like 65 degrees in the house, which is kind of cold, and it's damp. So I put on a little vest.
What do you set the thermostat at in the wintertime, like the dead of winter?
Like for like the heat?
Yeah.
67.
Wow.
Yeah.
We set ours at 63.
3?
Yes.
Well,
You can see your breath in my
you
house.
trying to
Harry.
skate?
Yes.
Jesus.
We figure if one of the toilets floods, Harry, it'll freeze over and we can get a couple we can get a clean sheet
Little
in.
sheet.
Evan can work on his snapper
Wow.
and his clapper.
Wow. I thought I was bad at keeping it at 67. Well, that's good to know, because then when the Lima complains about it next time, I'll just tell her, well, it's a good thing you're not at Jason's house because it's 63 over there.
Yeah, you got to wear a parka to watch TV at my house.
Yeah. In the summer, I usually set it at 70 for the air conditioning.
Yeah, we're at 68 on that.
Okay.
Our electric bill's through the roof.
Yeah.
Guys over at Pico get a new shore house every summer with us. I got the tie on here today. Harry.
Yeah. I mean, you're all dressed up. Do you have a funeral to go to? Unfortunately, did somebody pass?
No. I thought I was only going to have to break out the suit and dust it off for one more occasion on Friday when the Flyers wrap up the season against the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, thank goodness.
But I almost forgot. I'm emceeing the Flyers Cup Luncheon today.
Wow.
Over at DuPont Country Club, the Crystal Tea Room.
Okay.
For all
That's
the
a fancy
this year's
spot.
champions. Yeah. Yep. Hound will be there. Bob Kelly.
Okay.
Marshy, old Brad Marsh will be there today and be handing out some awards. And
nice.
All the teams will be there that won the Flyers Cup this year.
Now, there's an association. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's an association between you and both of these teams that are being honored today, right?
Yeah, there's actually 4 teams because there's 3 levels of boys and then the one girls team that won, Westchester Henderson, who's an old rival of mine, school.
Sure.
But Rob Bear called me and said, we want to get you to MC it this year. We figured since 2 teams that you played in the Flyers Cup for are champions, you'd be the perfect person to do it. Malvern Prep won this year and then went on to win states. And my other alum is Westchester East, who went on to win back-to-back and won states as well. So,
man. Now, will you be representing any gear from these 2 institutions?
I was thinking about bringing. I have a tote in the garage. I have an old Westchester East Vikings jersey of mine, and I have a Malvern Prep jersey. I may have to bring those and maybe don those, Harry.
It's like a yellow and red for Westchester East, right?
Yeah, very red with the gold.
Yeah. Is that gold? Do they call it gold? I guess gold sounds better than yellow.
Yeah, it's more like yellow than it is gold,
right? Because I remember, because I dated a girl from Westchester East for a couple of years.
Oh, is that right?
Out at Shippensburg. So I used to roam that area, that East Goshen Township area.
Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
So I got the Malvern Friar jersey too. So I may bring those along for some
now, do you still fit in the sweater? You got a Malvern sweater. Do you still fit in it?
Well, yeah, because I wore goalie.
Oh yeah, you got the extra goal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's snug now without goalie equipment. And of course, the uppers that I wore, the chesty that I wore, Harry, back then, it was not the same size as the chesties now.
Okay.
Much smaller, a lot bigger, less protective.
Was it a lot bigger back then or bigger now? Oh, okay.
Much bigger now, yeah.
Okay.
And much more protective now than it was back then. All right, let's tell people real quick about Bet Parks, because the all-new Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app, it is now out. It is live. It's fantastic. It's everything you want in a mobile casino and sportsbook, and it's right in your pocket.
Yeah, it's like a casino, a sportsbook, right in the pocket of your jeans. So you can fit these phones in the back pocket of the jeans still, even though I got the big one.
Yeah, you got the Plus.
Yeah, it still fits in well.
Yeah. But it's great because it's like if you need to get a bet in, just pull over to the side of the road. The app's so easy to use. you can
Boom.
bang out a bet on the side of the road and be on your way in seconds.
Exactly. Just hopefully you're not on the side of the road because you were placing the bet while driving and the cop saw you and then hence pulled you over.
Yeah, the cop goes, "What are you doing?" You know, "I got to get my action in here." He goes, "Well, who do you like?"
Yeah.
And he goes,
I
"Yeah, I kind of like that too. You're on
yeah.
your way.
I
If
kind
you
of
win,
like
you can pay your
Toronto.
ticket."
Right. Yeah. I kind of like Toronto on Thursday night. I'd say the Sixers screwed up,
Ooh,
royally screwed up a golden opportunity to end a series and not have to travel back north to Canada, where all those restrictions and everything that they got to go through to get there. Of course, there'll be Sans Thibault because he's not allowed there. But after
yeah,
the way he played last night, I don't think they're going to miss anything. They were god awful last night, really, as a team. And you could just tell from the jump that Toronto wanted the basketball game. They wanted to
yeah.
win. They came here to win it and to force a game 6 back home. And I'll tell you, if they lose that game in game 6 and the line's 1.5, they could very well lose. That place, that building, as you know, it's
Yeah.
a big hockey area. It's originally the hockey area, but they really have taken to this Raptors team over the past couple of decades, and they make it really tough on opponents in the playoffs in that building. That's going to be a tough game on Thursday night for the Sixers. I'll actually jump on the Raptors at +1.5. And they're
Wow.
forcing a game 7, which you know better than anyone. In hockey, it happens all the time.
Yep.
Anything can happen.
It happened last year against the Atlanta Hawks
Yep.
in
Right.
the first round
How
with
bad
Trae
were
Young.
the Sixers at home again that series?
Yeah, exactly. And you know the interesting thing about the Raptors, Harry, is it's not just it's not just Toronto. That's Canada's team.
Right. It's like the national team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not just like, they're rabid in Toronto about it. No, they're rabid across the country because it's the only NBA team they've
Mhm.
got.
Yeah.
So download the app and get that action in on it. Harry, it pains Harry to pick that side, but
It does.
you
I
gotta
thought
make
this
your money.
series would be over by now. I mean, I'm thinking 5 games max.
Yeah.
And I mean, Toronto was down Fred Van Vliet too. He was in a jumpsuit on the sidelines cheering his team on and being like a 16th assistant coach.
Yeah.
And they still won the game. This Precious Achua kid who played at Memphis for a couple of years, just an emerging player in this. He abused Joel Embiid last night. And how often do you say that about like a star in the NBA abusing Joel Embiid? This guy, half the people in the Sixers fan base don't even know who he is.
Yeah. So you got Achua, then you got Siakam too.
Siakam, yeah, he was the best Cameroonian player on the court last night, not Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So grab the app, grab the BetParks app, and right now all BetParks users, new and existing, use the promo code Jason750 and you'll get a risk-free bet up to $750. Terms and conditions apply. So download the all-new BetParks app today. You need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So they're back at it Thursday night now.
Correct. Yeah.
Game
Which
6.
is also the draft. The NFL draft kicks off on Thursday night with the first round.
Scheduling here.
Man, I got to do the double TVs. I'm just, wondering, like, do I put the draft on the big TV? Because I love the NFL draft. I mean, it's like football in the springtime to me, for 2-3 days. I don't usually watch on Sunday when they're going rounds 4 through 7, but Thursday night and Friday night, I usually watch it all on Thursday and a good bit of it on Friday night. I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Eagles are in high consequence in this draft. So that makes it even more interesting from a local perspective. You don't even need that to enjoy the draft. It's just the draft's one of those great non-playing days on the sports calendar.
Absolutely. It might be the best. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, what
Selection
other
Sunday?
Selection Sunday is good. It hasn't been good for me locally because we haven't had a team that was in it for a couple of years. But yeah, you're right. That would probably be number 2 to me. I would still put the NFL draft ahead of it because Selection Sunday only takes like a half an hour too. Like they roll through those brackets in no time.
Yep.
And it's like 6:00 usually on the East Coast on that Sunday night after the Big Ten tournament finishes up. But that's what's another one?
Another one's going to be
the NBA draft. I like
lottery.
Oh yeah, the lottery. Probably more so than the draft.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because if you're in that mix and you have like a player like when you get those great players coming out like LeBron, those draft lotteries, they change the fortune and the trajectory of an entire franchise.
No doubt. Yeah.
'Cause
And
in
the
sports
landscape of the league.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
think about the billions of dollars that it can bring into an individual city
Mhm.
based on if you get it. See, in sports, it's not that you suck. Everybody's gonna suck sometimes. It's when you suck.
Correct. You gotta suck at the right time.
It's exactly right, Har. And
And speaking of that, like, have the Flyers sucked at the right time? Like, is there any like nugget on the horizon that we can say, well, you know what? They might get this guy.
well, I mean, they have the fourth best odds to win the lottery this year. They had
Right.
lottery reform in the NHL
Mhm.
because originally, if you were the worst team in the league, you had like a 42% chance to win the lottery. So
Jeez.
teams were doing everything they could to be the worst team in the league.
Absolutely.
That's a damn good
It
chance.
really is, yeah.
Now that the worst team in the league has like a 19% chance.
Mm.
And it trickles on down. The Flyers have a 9.7% chance to land the number one
So
overall.
like 1
pick.
in 10. Okay.
Yeah.
10%. Okay.
Wow. And then they can move up to 2 or blah blah blah. Right? If it just went on, points percentage, they would draft 4th.
Okay.
They
What's
can
the
move
worst they could do?
6th.
Okay. All right.
So you can only move down 2 spots, like backwards,
Mhm.
and teams can only move up 10 spots. So if like the 15th ranked team that doesn't make the playoffs wins the lottery, they don't move up to 1.
Oh, okay. So they go up to 5th.
Yeah, because like the Flyers went from 13 to 2
Yeah.
back in 2017, and they're wishing that didn't happen at this point.
Well, that was Nolan Patrick, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the biggest reason I think they're in the predicament they're in right now, Har, is the ripple effect of Nolan Patrick being a dog. When they moved up in that draft, they decided, we can trade Braden Shen because we're getting a ready-made player.
Mhm.
The problem is the player was ready-made from a skill set standpoint, but he's a mutt.
Mhm.
So then him not playing for that year caused them to go out and sign Hayes to that deal, which on the back end is going to be tough.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the ripple effect of that. Not only did you pick that guy and you get nothing from him, but you also didn't pick a guy like Cale Makar or Miro Heiskanen.
Oof.
And so, like, the difference between getting that guy and having a Heiskanen or Makar is so
Right.
great.
Right. And then Schenner went out to St. Louis and won himself a cup, didn't he?
Yeah, and has potted 50+ points every year he's been out there.
Love it. Potted.
Yeah,
That's a great term.
yeah. So he's one of 6 former Flyers that have scored against the team this season.
Jeez.
So Eric Gustafson scored last night playing for Chicago, the first goal.
Mhm.
He played briefly for the Flyers last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Before being moved out to Montreal. But the other players that scored against the Flyers, former Flyers, this all happened in 2 months. Simmer for Toronto scored against the Flyers. Ryan Hartman potted 2.
I don't even remember him.
Exactly. He was here for like 6.5 minutes. Braden Shen, Gustafson, Derek Grant, who was here for a cup of coffee.
I don't remember him.
Deadline move that they grabbed in the 2019-20 season. He scored a goal against them for Anaheim, and Phil Myers on Giroux's 1,000th game night scored against them. So.
Wow! So the Panthers they're shaping up to be one of the beasts in the East.
A beast in the NHL. They have the best record in the league now.
Wow!
They've lost 1 game since El Cap has been there.
Whoa! The captain effect.
Yeah, and he's got like 18 points in 15 games.
Wow. Now, have you been in touch with him since he became a Florida Panther player?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's still cool with you?
Oh, yeah. I gotta get him on. I'm gonna get him on Stick to Hockey once everything wraps up, and we can break bread and chop it up.
Now, will you tell him that you really don't think the best move would be to bring him back?
Yeah, I already told him.
You did?
Yeah, off the record.
Okay, good. All right.
Stay away.
Yeah.
You know what's best for you. Stay away.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah. You'll bring that skill level to somewhere else.
Oh,
but he's a player that was part of a 13-game losing streak and then a 13-game winning streak.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's the definition of going from the outhouse to the penthouse.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that draft lottery is coming up. Draft lotteries are always great.
They are good.
They're always fun. So we'll see what kind of luck. But if the Flyers end up in the draft lottery next year, that's where you get the guy. this kid Connor Bedard here.
Oh, is that right? So is this guy a generational kind of player?
So put it this way: when McDavid was the same age as Bedard was this year, and they're playing in the same league, McDavid scored 31 goals and had like 70 points. This kid has scored already over 52 goals and 100 points.
Jeez.
More points than McDavid at the same age in the same league.
Wow.
As an exceptional player.
Just Connor Bedard?
Yeah. I mean, that could just you get a guy like that. Like in the NBA, guys move around, which kind of sucks. But, in the NHL, you get Sidney Crosby in 2005. And that team's been front page news relevance in Pittsburgh ever since.
Mm-hmm.
In baseball, I guess guys can move around a little bit, like because Harper moved around, and you get great players because the organizations don't all have the same kind of dough and rev share. But in the NHL, I mean, you get a guy, you keep a guy like that for the entirety of his career, and it changes the economic landscape of your franchise and in a lot of ways your city.
Right. Yeah, crazy. Boy, he's been there since 2005. Crosby. Jeez. And how many cups have they won in that period of time? 3?
Got to 4 and won 3.
Got to 4, won 3. Okay.
Yeah, lost in 08 to Detroit. Came back in 09 and won.
They beat Detroit in 09.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
And then won the back-to-back in 15 and 16. So, and they drafted Fleury in the 2003 draft, one of the greatest drafts ever.
Yep. And then you could have that number 1 overall pick and pick the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Like the 76ers did with one Ben Simmons.
Big time, Harry. I mean,
has yet to play with the Brooklyn Nets and probably won't.
I'm seeing these reports from Woj last night and Windhorst, Windbag, and all these guys that now KD, like guys there are pissed.
Yeah.
Because they feel like Rich Paul and Clutch Sports kind of manipulated this whole thing. He was supposed to return. Team's down 0-3. It's like, dude, we need you now.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with this guy?
I don't think he would have made a difference last night. I watched a good bit of that game. Boston is just way tougher than Brooklyn is. I mean, I know Brooklyn's got the 2 big stars. Tatum's a star, too, for the Celtics. And Jaylen Brown is close. But they are just as a unit, just more cohesive and way tougher.
Well coached too.
Yeah, well coached is right. Yeah.
I look at this Ben Simmons situation, and Harden has not been great.
No, he hasn't.
But it doesn't matter. Daryl Morey won that trade 10 times over.
Even Stephen A. Smith is saying that now. Did you see that? He apologized to Daryl Morey because he raked him over the coals the next day and probably for the next 3 days on ESPN about the trade, saying that Brooklyn won the trade and this and that. And he said he apologized and he called Ben Simmons one of the most pathetic situations I've ever seen in sports.
Wow.
He said he quit on LSU. He quit on the 76ers, and now he's quit on Brooklyn.
And he hasn't even played a game there.
Yeah. He wasn't even on the bench in his fancy clothes last night. He was nowhere to be seen. I don't know if he was up in a suite somewhere, but no sign of Ben Simmons last night.
What a shame. I mean, the guy's got so much talent, and he's just such a dog. I saw somebody put out a tweet. I thought it was a great tweet. Somebody said that Tiger Woods, in the time since Ben Simmons plays, was in a car accident, almost lost his leg, and played golf at a major sooner than Ben Simmons played.
Right. Yeah. I saw that too. That was pretty mad. Did you see? I mean, it's one thing when guys, radio guys like us, former radio guys like us, whatever, say it. But when former players, Hall of Fame players at that, start blasting this guy,
Reggie
Miller crushed him.
Yeah,
he put in a tweet, this dude has zero competitive fire. That, for coming from a former player and a Hall of Famer with stature like Reggie Miller does, still in the game, he's in the broadcast game now, that is a bigger indictment than anything any fan could ever say. When you start questioning the competitive fire of a player in any sport.
It's the thing that former players are really reluctant to do.
Yes.
Is talk about the competitive nature and effort.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and
they
Shaq's
know.
done it now. Sir Charles, of course.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins has been unloading on this guy on Twitter.
He's up there double barrels.
It's
unloading
unbelievable.
the clip.
Yeah.
But he deserves it. And it's bananas. But this guy, Man, what an unbelievable situation. I don't even know how he moves forward with a career at this point
Well,
because nobody can depend on him.
yeah, I don't
He's
know.
just a prima donna.
Nothing surprises me in that league with things that go on because the players really run the league.
Yeah.
Is that he could be doing this all, who knows, maybe to get to LA and play with LeBron in
Yeah.
LeBron's final, year or two, whatever it is.
That may
I
be
don't
his
know.
only savior.
Yeah, it might be. Might be.
The only guy that would be able to keep him in line would be basically LeBron with the Rich Paul connection and all that, and
Mhm.
the ultimate clout that he has. But it's just unbelievable. I couldn't believe that he wasn't coming back for
Yeah.
being down for his team like that and saying he's coming back, and then all of a sudden I woke up with a little soreness.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
come on.
And they get swept.
Yeah, that's
Right.
unbelievable. What a mess that is.
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
incredible.
Well, we'd like to thank the Brooklyn Nets for coming out.
Yeah.
Are you anticipating a wild Thursday night for the NFL draft hire? You think it's going to be full of a lot of movement?
I don't know so much about movement. It's kind of one of these drafts where there's a lot of good players, but there's not a lot of excitement level about the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
And that kind of takes a little bit of the steam off of it. Malik Willis could end up being the first quarterback taken, maybe as high as Carolina in the top 10. And, then, where does Kenny Pickett go? Is there a surprise quarterback that, suddenly emerges or whatever? But there's a lot of good players and a lot of good defensive players, as far as the Eagles, wide receiver. Do they take another wide receiver in the first round?
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these punters, I saw Kuiper, I think, has him taking Jamison Williams from Alabama.
Yeah.
In the first
Right
round.
school.
Yeah. You can't. It's hard to go wrong taking a kid out of there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. I'd rather have Wilson, but yeah, I don't think you can't get. They're not going to be able to get up high enough. I think he's a top 10 kid. Treylon Burks is a wide receiver from Arkansas that'll be there when the Eagles take. I like a lot of what I see with him. Good defensive players, defensive back, safety guy, Daxton Hill from Michigan, Jordan Davis on the defensive line from Georgia, and Nakobe Dean. I hope there's a bet. I got to find on the Bet Parks app if there's a bet I can make that the Eagles will select a player from Georgia because I'm going to take it.
Is that
if
right?
It's available. Yes.
They got their
a lot
eyes
of Georgia
on the
Bulldogs in the first round Thursday night.
Wow. That
Yeah.
the thing about the draft, like I love the draft because it's a touch point to college football
Mhm.
in a lot of ways for me. And then immediately, like soon as you started talking about, so-and-so from Alabama or Georgia Bulldog, I'm thinking, man, I can't wait for the pageantry of college football again.
I know.
Like, I love it.
It is great.
It's
And they always
awesome.
start off with that big first weekend right around Labor Day. They, with all these interconference games and stuff. It's pretty good. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Temple will
gonna-
be better this year too. So
Yeah, they're moving in the right direction.
yeah, they got a new coach, and I'm hearing a lot of good things.
Good.
So.
That'd be good. Yeah, look, I want them to have as much success as possible, except for when they play Penn State.
Yeah,
they can have.
they don't
James
play
Franklin.
Penn State anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, unless I've heard there's a certain athletic director that is impossibly in the mix for Penn State for that job, and he was at Temple years ago.
Oh, so he'd like to bring that back. I'm
So
sure.
who knows? I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but if he did get the job, maybe there's a chance. That's all I'm saying.
One thing really big happened in the past week that I didn't think we were going to talk about today, but I just remembered it. Jay Wright retired.
Yeah.
How stunned were you to see that, Harry?
I was very stunned.
Me too. I felt like that came out of left field.
Yeah, I got a text from a buddy of mine. He was out at a restaurant bar that night saying, "Hey, there's a rumor going around here at the bar that Jay Wright is going to step down." And I'm like, "What?" And
is there a
this
scandal
guy
coming or
this
something?
guy isn't in the sports information business. He's a golfer. And he was texting me. He said, "Yeah, so and so's telling me that Jay Wright is going to be stepping down." So then I started to do some research on it, and that's like right when it blew up. There was some guy, a blue checkmark guy, I forget his name. I'd never heard of him before, that had it, And I
Yeah.
checked in to make sure it wasn't some fake account and all this, kind of nonsense that goes on today. And the guy was legitimate and he was right. And I was like, wow, like this, I had no idea this was even a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, we thought the possibility was he'd step down from Villanova and step on to the Sixers bench,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
That
everybody starts connecting dots. They're like, oh man, the Lakers need a coach. Maybe he's going to go out to LA and coach LeBron, and Anthony Davis. And then some were saying that no, he's going to take over for Popovich in San Antonio. There's going to be a changing of the guard there, and he's going to get. I'm like, no, there's no way he's going to San Antonio.
no.
No disrespect to Texas. He just doesn't seem like a guy who would want to uproot himself and go down there, at this point in his career. Like I could
He's not
see
wearing
LA.
a 10-gallon hat and a belt buckle.
Right. Come on.
He's not going to fit in there.
Yeah. I mean,
LA, absolutely.
Of
Philly,
course.
obviously. New
Yeah.
York, obviously.
Yeah.
He's got that look.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's just done coaching.
It might be. He's going to apparently work in the university with the president of the university. And I would imagine that there'd be several projects he'll be on, but part of it's raising money too, because he'd be a guy that, go out there and grip and grin and, represent and get checks signed if that's what they want him to do. He'd be great at. He'd be great at anything. He'd be great in a booth, doing games.
Bingo, that's where I was going next.
Yeah, like at the dais for CBS Sports. Through the tournament, he'd be fantastic.
He'd be an awesome in-studio analyst because
Yeah,
not only is he's a good-looking guy, well-dressed, the whole thing, but he's a great communicator.
Yeah, he's got great presentation.
Yeah. And presence, right? Everything about him.
Yeah.
And
All class.
And he's got great Q rating too. I mean, he's such a likable guy.
Absolutely.
I mean, have you ever met anybody that goes, I hate Jay Wright?
No, not in a long, long time. I mean, maybe back in the beginning, some folks weren't all that nuts about him. I don't know, but no. Remember when you and I were doing the golf tournament over at Aronimink, the BMW? We did the show from over there in one of the tents, right off the 9th green, I think it was. And he was playing in the Pro-Am that Wednesday. We were there the day before the tournament started. I think he was playing with John Rahm.
Yeah.
And we see him coming up onto the green, and it was their last hole. I think they played the back first and then finished on 9, I think. And we kind of got his attention to say, hey, come on up and join us. And we were getting near the end of the show. It was like in the final hour of the show. And he kind of nodded, yeah, I'll try to come up. Sure enough, he made it 20 minutes later after he had to talk to everybody else he had to talk to and do whatever he had to do. He made sure he came over and sat with us. And I thought that, that went a long way with me. That shows you, what he is.
Yeah, he's just a class guy.
Yeah.
And
he didn't know us anything. We didn't have the Villanova games on the station anymore.
Nope.
So, I mean.
But when he comes on too, he refers to you by your name.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, Harry, blah, blah, blah. Or hey, Jason, and anytime I ever had to call him when I was working for Mike or anything, always just such a gracious guy. So whatever he does, I know he's going to have tons of success. So, and I've made the case, how I feel about him, Harry. I've said it over the last 40 years, he's the best coach in Philadelphia. What he's done speaks for itself.
No doubt. We should try to get him on one time.
Yeah. We'll have to hit him
on here.
Yeah. He's a great guy. So, best of luck to Jay Wright.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you saw this, but Elon Musk has bought Twitter.
Yeah, what is it?
I didn't know Twitter was for sale.
Oh, I don't think it really was. I think it was just like about one of those hostile takeovers you first started to hear about in the 80s.
Well, he wanted to get on the board first, and they wouldn't let him. But he wanted to get on the board, I guess, to eventually buy. But then he, I guess, raised enough capital or got enough capital together and bought Twitter for $44
billion, I think it is.
44 billion. Oh my God.
Yeah, 44 billion. Yeah.
Who's got that kind of scratch?
Now he claims he's all about free speech and wants to bring that back to the platform and get rid of the bots and the shadow banning. I mean, Eitan Shander, I think, has been up ever since the news came out, partying, because now more than 15 people will see his tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's very elated.
He's not going to be shadow banned anymore.
Shander banned, I think, is the term for him.
Is that a hashtag that's trending?
I put it out yesterday. Yeah.
See, Elon Musk ought to do himself a favor and put Shander on the board.
He should. He should.
The funny thing is, I woke up today and I lost probably about 700 followers.
Really?
Are people deactivating their account because Elon Musk bought Twitter, Harry?
Yeah, I think it's the same people that said they were going to move to Canada if the orange man became the president. I don't know that they ever moved.
Yeah, I saw some woman tweet that if Elon Musk buys Twitter, I'm moving to Canada. And somebody replied to her and said, "Didn't you already move to Canada when Trump won?" And then a Canadian said, "We've got border security up here. We're not just
Right.
going to let you in,
Exactly.
you peg." I
Oh,
love
man.
it.
I mean, why would anybody care who owns it as long as it doesn't affect you and your like my account I know has been capped because I have had the same amount of followers for the last 4 years, okay?
Mhm.
Not going up or down. And it's like I know that my tweets are limited to in the scope before, as opposed to how they were years ago. So there is an effect on that. And all I do is try to promote stuff like this podcast.
Yeah.
And I know fewer people are seeing that stuff. I've got over 40,000 followers, and I guarantee you not, 5% of them are seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've moved to a model on Twitter for promotional purposes only.
Yeah.
I'll go back and forth once in a while, or I have a
Mhm.
quip here or there, a little chuckle. But for the most part, it's just not worth it. But,
Right.
People got to realize, like, if you have a problem with him owning it, you can deactivate your account.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not being held hostage here.
Mhm.
Just if you don't want to be a part of it, don't be a part of it. This isn't complicated.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that have left the platform in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Because of the vitriol that seems to be promoted on there by the site.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, one of the things that I guess Elon Musk has said is he wants to unlock the true potential of Twitter.
Right.
And and Jack Dorsey, the former CEO, also said that Twitter is not something that should be owned through stockholders. It should be, kind of individually owned and not weaponized, but used the right way. And that he has a lot of faith in Elon Musk that he will, kind of unlock this platform's true potential. So
what island did that guy buy? Where's he been since he's
running
out?
some other company now? I saw.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, these people and all their money.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Now, one thing I did see on Twitter, and I thank Twitter because I had a great chuckle when I saw this tweet from the Fanatic account yesterday, Har.
Oh, my.
So this is what it said.
Mhm.
It says, Anthony wants to build a skeleton of all the body parts that have haunted us in Philadelphia sports history now that Embiid's thumb is plaguing this playoff run. What other body parts should make the skeleton?
Oh.
I'm like,
Lindros's skull.
Yeah, his brain.
Yeah, Lindros's skull.
But I'm reading this tweet going, what the hell is he talking about?
He's talking about all the injuries that have seemed to curse this city and stand in the way of potential championships. Because it always seems like something like this happens here. It does.
It happens everywhere.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know that they're as invested in it everywhere as they are here.
Okay, so he's building like the skeleton, all like 280 some bones.
Yeah.
Who had a collarbone? You know what I mean? A fifth metatarsal.
What was the injury that? Well, I know T.O. came back to play in the Super Bowl, so maybe it's not relevant, and he played really well.
That was an ACL.
Yeah, it was an ACL. Yeah, we got to take bids on ACLs. We've got a lot of ACLs and Achilles tendons.
The ACL is a soft tissue and not a musculoskeletal.
Right.
So we got to do all the muscles now, too?
Oh, yeah, tendons.
Oh, this is going to go on for
muscles.
Weeks.
Yeah. Oh, remember that thing that you had in health class where it was like a torso and you saw all the organs and stuff in it, like when you were learning about all that stuff? Maybe that's what he's going to try to build.
Yeah. I'm going to label it.
Yeah.
We got so-and-so's kidney.
Yeah.
Oh, my good. Like, who's the biggest drinker? We'll get his liver. John Kruk's liver.
Yeah. Is he? I don't know that he's the biggest.
He was.
He was?
Yeah.
I think some of those Flyers would give him a run back in the day.
Coatsy still give him a run.
Well, yeah, but he
After
never
quadruple
he never
bypass.
played for the Flyers, though.
Quadruple bypass, and he's still going hard,
That's
man.
right. Good for him.
Great to be back on the road. They're headed to the Peg today. Winnipeg last week had the biggest snowstorm in their history.
Really?
Last week.
So the middle of April.
Yeah.
Well, it's not out of character up there, though. I mean, they get this stuff in Denver and Colorado too this time of year. It's crazy.
The high altitude shit. The thing is with Winnipeg, they get summer from about June 7th to July 19th, and then it's over.
That's about it. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. I'm going to go do the Flyers Cup Luncheon.
What are they serving? And what will you?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's
not a rubber chicken thing, is it?
No, it's going to be at the Crystal Tea Room at DuPont, so it's going to be a nice affair. I got to go jacket and tie and the whole thing, and
right.
So it'll be a good time. So
you got the proper shoes on.
Yeah, I've got the Cole Haan.
Oh, nice. They're comfortable too.
Oh yeah, it's like a slipper. So yeah, we're gonna do that today, and then we'll be back next week for episode 22. Let's tell the people about Parks app, and your play on the Parks app this week is one that you're not, proud to make.
I didn't think I'd have to make this, but I think there's going to be a game 7, so I'm taking Toronto, who has now caught fire and is starting to believe in themselves. And the Sixers looked as bad as they could last night. I'm going to grab the Raptors at +1.5 to force a game 7.
All right, so you got Raptors at +1.5 in game 6 in Toronto with no Thibault.
Right.
And Joel Embiid's thumb and a metatarsal. And you get that in on the all-new BetParks Casino and Sportsbook app because it is now live. It's everything you want in a mobile casino and sportsbook right in your pocket. Harry, you'll be on the side of the road putting a bet in, maybe a late bet on the PGA this weekend, Harry?
Yeah, it's a lame tournament this week. They go to Mexico, and there's only, I think, 2 of the top 25 in the official World Golf rankings are playing in it. It's like the John Rahm Invitational. John Rahm and a couple of guys.
No, that's lame. So, he's got to do a better job recruiting guys to play for that.
Well, they're going up against the NFL this week. This is a big NFL draft week. Like you said, the Sixers play a possible closeout game. Some of these other series are looking to close out. And then the end of the NHL season is this weekend. So there's a lot of competition on television.
Why push the rock uphill?
Yeah,
when you don't have to.
Right.
When's the next big tournament in the PGA, Harry?
The PGA Championship coming up in Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in mid-May.
So is that Mother's Day weekend?
No, I think it's the week after.
Okay, so it's the week after, but before Memorial Day.
Correct. Yeah,
and then you're just a couple of weeks away from the U.S. Open as well.
And the U.S. Open on Father's Day weekend.
Yeah. So get the new BetParks app. Easy to sign up, fun to use, faster to win than ever before. And right now, all BetParks users can use the promo code Jason750 and get a risk-free bet up to $750. That's new and existing users. Terms and conditions do apply. So make sure you download the all-new BetParks app today. Do you need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey? Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Any last words, Harry?
Yeah, now I got a question for you because you're always used to use the players' entrance at the Wells Fargo Center. Will you be using the members-only entrance at DuPont Country Club today?
I'm going to go in the front door wherever they tell me to go and how to get there. That's all I know. So...
well, you're going to have to go to the restroom a few times if you're there for more than an hour.
I'll visit the men's locker room for sure.
Yeah.
Bust out a Q-tip, clean the ears a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Get a little Pinard, a little hair tonic. Oh, yeah. Just rub it on your head.
It's the greatest thing about the country club bathroom. They got the spray deodorant, everything in there. The combs.
Toothbrushes in there you can take.
Yeah. Floss, the whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah, you get the whole thing. All right. That's episode 21, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week on a brand new episode of BetParks Presents the OGs Podcast.